we're here talking in the chill room. We're talking a little bit about Zoom because everybody uses Zoom. We're using Zoom right now in the chill room. But there's this other program that I started using back in March when everything got locked down. Because I have a lot of weddings and I do a lot of detailed planning with those couples. And I really wanted to step it up and not just be like this, like a camera on my human face. I'm charming AF and I'm handsome, but I wanted it to be a little bit more. I wanted it to be on brand, if you will. So I found this program called OBS. And what OBS does is it creates, basically you can create anything in OBS and brand your Zoom feed. So right now and you use a thing called a virtual camera. So what I can do is we can share the screen real quick and I'll show you what OBS looks like. All right, so this is OBS. This is the interface. I am really blurry in this screen, but it's okay. And so you can see that. You can see what that looks like. Now, you can set up scenes over here on the left, but each scene is just a combination of different things. So this right here is my camera. You can turn things on and off, just like that. You can add video capture device. So what that is that's something like a webcam, which I have right over here. Oops. Okay. Oh, hold on. So going through those scenes, what you can do is you can add images, you can add slideshows, you can add frames. Okay, we got these things here. Add this, and then I can move this frame around. Basically what I'm saying is you can change all of this stuff to make sure that your computer freezes, because that's fun. Okay, there we go. Drag and drop, you can move things around, change their sizes so that they fit. And just like that, I'm in an on-brand frame. This is kind of cool. And you can add text. So you could add text like this. Couple's names. Right here. And that. Go into properties and you can change their names. So we've got Scott and John that I can see. You can change the font, whatever you want it to be. You have brand fonts, of course. You can do that. Make that as big or as small as you want it to be. You can make it scroll. So many different options inside of OBS. So one of the things that I've done, see like this right here, this is when I would do live streaming. Got my tags up the top, follow on Facebook, that kind of stuff. We had a showroom. Oops, that's not going to work for that. And then we had a show host behind the scenes. So what we were using OBS for was for video or the Zoom weddings and that kind of a thing there. So this was a holiday party I did. You can just add GIFs, do different things, different sources, and the like. And each thing is just easy to pick it up, move it, remove it, etc. So have any of you used OBS, heard of OBS, that kind of thing?
I've heard of it. I've never used it. and all, but I have heard of it. Did you have some more things to explain on it, Thomas, or did you want to kind of ask some questions on it too?
I wanted to ask a couple of questions on it too, and just talk, have an open dialogue on what people are doing and how, they think that this would help them with what they're doing.
I think that it's used a lot now they use it in Twitch too, I believe. If
Yes.
I'm not mistaken. How many cameras can you run on that? Is it up to 3 or as many
It,
as you can muster?
you can just add as many cameras as you want. You just have to make sure that you have the sources for it. I'm not sure.
There is a thing. There is only one. There's an issue with the cameras though. With OBS, you have to make sure that each camera is different. So you can't use, say, 4 identical GoPros. For a GoPro as an example, because it'll just basically cancel each other out. So you'd have to use a webcam, like a Logitech webcam, and then an SLR camera. Make sure that each camera is different, because if they're identical brands, then OBS does get confused. And in distinguishing between each camera.
So not the same model numbers. You have to use different model numbers. Let's say if you use Logitech, you would use a different model Logitech or a different GoPro camera or on the laptop or whatever. It'd be all the same. That's good to know. Didn't know that. Wow.
So, I mean, my journey into OBS was obviously through streaming. Originally, I was using Virtual DJ, and I first started using Virtual DJ with the music videos. So I was changing the opaque. I can't pronounce it. Opaque. The opacity. So you know what I'm trying to say. So I would have like the camera of the laptop slightly transparent to my music videos, so the two would be showing at the same time. Then as time progressed, I was like, oh yeah, they brought out the 2021, which was kind of similar. They've got a similar thing on there whereby you can have a screenshot of visuals. You can have visuals on one screen within it. You can have either music videos or your own camera, and then you can have a little text, and you can put your Facebook links and things like that down the bottom. That was great, but then I wanted more again, so that's when I discovered OBS. And so obviously with the OBS, it's much more versatile in what you can do. As you were showing before, you put the text there. You can do things like, instead of just a GIF, like a little moving image, you can just you can do a slideshow. So you can put 20 photos in. If you were, advertising your business, you could do screen slideshow of various setups, your venues and things like that. It's to be honest, it's brilliant. And if you're you don't have to be super computer literate to work out what it is. You can't really go wrong with it. If you make a mistake, it's easy to reverse it. You can just, as you showed before, you can click on that window, you can remove it. You can't make it crash it. You can't really lose everything. I'd say pretty much 8 out of 10 on easiness to use. I mean, literally, probably I used it for a couple of hours, and within a couple of hours, I could do what you just showed there. It is easy to use. It's very simple. It's not complicated. There's no programming involved on, how to set up anything. But yeah, I love it. I think it's great.
Yeah, and the scenes, the being able to switch between the scenes, what we were doing was we would actually have different cameras in different areas of the venue. So we would have a camera at the ceremony, going down the aisle. We would have a camera above the couple, facing down behind them, so that people could zoom in and see all that stuff. So we had the DJ as the host, the master of ceremonies, and then we had somebody actually operating OBS, and they're switching between different scenes the entire time. And you are actually able to use a cell phone as a camera source, and that was the behind the scenes shot where the master of ceremonies would say, okay, in about 5 minutes, we're going to start the ceremony. Make sure that you're seated and you're paying attention to what's going on. Ryan can't wait to see, because he doesn't know what her dress looks like. You know, and then, you know, just tell people, put in the chat what you think he's going to do, how he's going to react, and we'll get back in about 5 minutes, just to keep everything going. And OBS really made that doable without having an external interface to do that with, because we really wanted to make sure that we were able to manage that without going to the expense of getting something, you know, $1,500, $2,000 that we might not actually use. So OBS really helped us kind of work through that. And actually, during the sales process as well, we had a showroom. So the showroom, the way we had it set up, we had our DJ booth set up in the one corner of the showroom, and my wife owns a rental company. So we would, during our conversations with them, we would be able to switch out which camera was on, so they could see the different setups for like the head table, maybe for linens, different things like that. Again, all branded, because you're setting all this stuff up in advance, and then it's easy to just switch between the different scenes. So, yeah. It's just a click of a button and you move from one thing to the next.
Now, Thomas, is there a cost factor involved in that, or
OBS is free?
It's free. Oh, but I mean,
OBS
as far
is
as if you want to upgrade to a more pro version of it.
Yes, you can. Yes, there's a couple of programs that have taken OBS to a new level. OBS Creator is one of them. I can't remember the other one, but they actually sell pre-made backdrops and pre-made scenes for you to go through, and they sell holiday ones. And with where we're at right now with our world, Zoom has just become this huge thing that everybody's using, and they saw the opportunity not just for gaming, because that's really where that's really what it started as, was people live streaming them playing video games. And it's grown into this thing just kind of like Zoom did. 3 years ago, nobody knew what Zoom was. No. Now everybody knows what Zoom is. So,
in fact, because really kind of John Young really turned us on to using Zoom a lot with with DJNTV, and being able to put together, say, this the chill room that we have here now, and different rooms we've had in the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's been the last 2 years we've seen a big outspun of Zoom. I know I've used it with my brides as well.
Yeah, we were using it a couple of years ago. I got turned on to it by DJ Dave Tournier, and it just made sense, for that, especially with the meetings. And we're a destination market, mm-hmm. So we're doing most of our meetings, online anyway, or something like a phone call. And the video is just so much better. It fits that narrative that we want it to be, right? We're creating a personal, connection with people. Why not, do it to their face, to their face. That's kind of funny, but you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So when you were using it to stream the ceremony, because this is something I'm going to be doing next year, because basically, as I mentioned before, I'm based in Cyprus in Europe, and the majority of my clients are from the UK. And obviously the UK is now leaving Europe, which means that from next year, anybody from the UK won't be able to use their data packages from the UK in Europe. So anybody who wants to stream their wedding, for obviously, especially now, people that won't be able to travel, people that might be, their grandparents or parents even, I'm going to be providing a streaming service for them. How did you get the sound through onto the Zoom? onto the OBS? Was it through a mixer? Did you just plug a mic, USB mic or radio mic straight into the OBS?
We have everything going through traditional mixers. So right now my audio is going through my MC7000. So it's actually coming right through this guy. And then right into, it's actually going into Zoom, but we could actually put it through OBS as well. And so we had different mics, doing different things, but everything was going, just the one output from the 7000, and it seemed to work pretty well.
So you just have one mic, for example, where the couple would do the I do bit. You wouldn't necessarily have mics wired up to the other cameras.
Well, we would. I mean, we had an external mixer for when we had more than 2 mics. But yeah, all still going into the board and all still coming out through into Zoom.
Now you can use the internal mics that are on, say, that are on a webcam or something like that then as well.
Mm-hmm. You could
have those extra mics.
Yep, absolutely. I just like the way this one sounds.
Because I actually did a streaming event 2 weeks ago. It's for a friend of mine. He was doing a charity event, and obviously the person that we were doing it on behalf of had passed away. So many of her family members were in the UK. So we did a live streaming event, so they were able to be part of it without having to obviously do the travel part. I wired that up to the sound came direct from the mixer. And I was able to put that through an iRig into the jack socket of the laptop.
Mm-hmm.
Sound quality was, it was reasonable. But obviously, I'm guessing if you had it through a mixer like you're doing now, the sound quality would be a lot better.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is actually coming from the 7000 through an iRig 2 into the computer. But you can also go, because you can also select different audio sources in Zoom. You can DJ and then switch out to an external audio source. Say if somebody was playing guitar for their ceremony, just switch it up.
Oh. Wow. Yeah.
So you said you're using a virtual camera now. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. It's a plug-in. Yes.
So what's the difference between the virtual camera and using an actual camera?
Well, the virtual camera, what that is that's the communication bridge between OBS and Zoom. So it's basically you select it. I'll show you that. Where's my Zoom? Yeah. Okay, right here. So go back to, where's Zoom? There it is. That's not helping me. Oh, that's right. You can't do that. So you, for the mic arrow up where you select your microphone, or I'm sorry, your camera.
Mm-hmm.
It does either your, whatever you got, a webcam, integrated camera, whatever. And when you have the virtual camera in OBS, it'll actually allow you, it says OBS camera 2, 3, and 4. So you can set up different virtual cameras as well and just switch between those in Zoom if you want.
All right.
There. I prefer switching scenes in OBS. It's a lot smoother, and it actually has a transition effect versus just going from that to that. Or that.
Oh, wow. And I noticed with dealing with OBS, it really works with a lot of the other programs, like I said, such as Zoom. It seems to really fit, with using a lot of different applications with it.
Mm-hmm.
It really fits in well.
It does, for sure. And Bill Marsh.
Yeah.
Hi, Bill.
Bill
So your
he can't
camera doesn't.
talk or hear us. He's been through the chat, so he might say hey to you. He might say hey to you there in the chat room. And we got Shalom Wilbur. He's off camera there. I think he was off there for a little bit.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm kind of taking some of it in here.
All right. Questions?
Well, my use case is a little bit different than your guys' DJ use case for Zoom. I've got sorry, I'm on a cell phone here. What I've been doing is I've been doing it with church here. I help set up some streaming at church, and lately I've been helping a lot of funerals and things like that, as people haven't been able to have large crowds at funerals. So I've been helping them stream some funerals lately. So I set up my scenes and my templates in Zoom. I'll put like readings and things for the different readings and scriptures that they'll do during their different parts of the Mass. And I'll set up in the studio mode some of the different pieces in there in OBS. And I will have a camera input. All my audio runs through that. So I have a camera setting up in the church choir loft that runs audio through their soundboard. And then I'll be able to switch through my pre-made scenes down at the bottom. So that's kind of what I do. So all my graphics are made up beforehand and that type of thing. So that's kind of my use case, like I said, which is a little bit different than your guys' DJ application, but that's kind of where I'm at. And I'll stream to private YouTube, at least for those, the funeral cases, it's private YouTube links. And for church, we do those for Sunday services. We'll put those on the church's YouTube site. So that's the use case that I've got. So
It's really cool.
Yeah.
I like the idea of putting the readings and stuff on screen. That's fantastic.
Well, and like I said, that's through the studio mode, and it does the little split screen, so you can still see the.
Oh, you're muted.
No.
He was talking and then not talking.
I'm not talking. Yeah. I tried to get.
Sorry, I didn't mean to. I've also played around with it to do different lower thirds with some graphics and customize some things like that, and just moving things around. So it's kind of a experiment. Like you said, it's an easy enough program to get used to, but.
Yeah, I love studio mode. We had like an external monitor that had all the different scenes. Because basically, when you have it in studio mode, you actually have each of your scenes is live on that other mode. Or that's why the external monitor was so great, because we had you've got 9 scenes all live on that other screen. And you can say, oh, I need to, the operator could say, oh, I need to pop over to that, what's going on over there.
Right.
And it's, setting up things like virtual tables and stuff like that. It just really, the more interactive you could be, the better it was. And OBS just seemed to fit that bill, at least for us.
The one thing that I'm kind of struggling with is I've had losses of signal with one of the computers that I'm using and not the other. And I'm wondering if I'm using too much CPU on the one computer versus the other, or if it's an issue with not enough bandwidth. This weekend, I'm going to try running both of them. I'm doing over Wi-Fi, and they're in the exact same spot. I've got a little bit better computer that I do one of them with. And I'm going to actually get a hardwire cable or get it permanently fixed. The one computer was not made to do wireless, so it's got one of those USB jacks to get wireless. So I'm wondering if that's not the issue that's causing it. So I'm going to get it hardwired and see if that doesn't fix some of my issues. So,
yeah, with everything video, power is important.
Right.
And having that especially CPU and RAM, that's if you're struggling, or if that's even a question of age or whatnot.
It never gets over about I don't know, 15-20% on CPU, but I don't know if that's enough to degrade it or not. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. And it also depending on the Wi-Fi connection too.
Right, which is why I'm thinking if I at least get it hardwired up there, that'll rule it out.
Yeah, so a couple of months ago, a couple of years ago, my wife and I bought this particular house with the express belief that we could have cable internet here. Well, after we signed the paperwork and we were here for a week, we found out that no, you cannot have cable internet there. So all we had was satellite internet. Fast forward to 2.5 years of living internet hell, and we finally got fiber optic internet. So now our Wi-Fi is 200 gig or 200 meg up and down, so I don't have any kind of issues with drop-offs or latency or any of that stuff. That being said, at our space where we were holding the virtual weddings, the computers were hardwired to the router. I didn't want to have anything to do with Wi-Fi, anything to do with internet being an issue. And the computers that we had were gaming-based machines, so they had everything they needed as far as RAM, processing speed, all that stuff. Because I know video, it can get crazy, and it doesn't take much for it to not be good. So we wanted to make sure that that was never a question on our end as far as the computer and stuff goes.
Hey, Charlon, let me ask you a question. Getting back to church, have you ever used that program with ProPresenter?
No, never even heard of it.
Okay, well, ProPresenter is basically it's what Mac's version of what Microsoft has out. For presenting up on screen and stuff like that. It's really a good program, and a lot of churches use it. We use it in the church that I attend, but I mean, it just I'm thinking that our church does use that for their streaming as well. I haven't checked with them, but I'm pretty sure, and I think they use ProPresenter. A lot of the Mac users know what that is, and have used it before. But that's good. That's good. You're using it in the church services as well.
Yeah. And like I said, when the funerals, all of a sudden these funerals started coming around and people were asking, and I'll fit as many of them as I can into my schedule. I mean, it kind of is a little bit of a, to see people not be able to come to their loved ones' funerals is kind of a hard hit, so I might as well make as many of them fit into my schedule as I can to let people come,
Okay. Hey, I see Gus is in the room with us. Gus, did you have any questions?
No, I just got here and I just got my mic set up, so I'm listening in. Go ahead, guys.
Okay.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Oh, there you go. Look at that handsome devil.
Oh, geez. I've been told something similar to that today, but that was another story.
We're talking Zoom. We're talking OBS, which is Open Broadcasting Software. Are you familiar with OBS, Gus?
Yeah, I had a copy of OBS before I put a new hard drive in this laptop, but I've never really used it yet, so I don't have any hands-on experience, but I watched a lot of videos on it and so on, so that's something I haven't tackled yet now.
Okay. So how often do you use Zoom? What do you use? What are you using Zoom for currently?
Well, I haven't for a long time since I'm back at work, but the whole time I was off, of course, I was in the chill room with everybody else, and I had used it with family meetings up north and so on. So, yeah.
Okay. Any business dealings?
Nothing business related, no, because what we're limited to basically nothing at this point business wise, and I haven't had any need for it at this point. So,
Okay.
But if I do, I'd definitely be using it for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We switched to pretty much all Zoom planning meetings for our DJ company, and that was, you know, we were using Zoom before Zoom was cool. But it's just gotten stronger. And I tell you what, Zoom used to be really, really not as good as it is now. It just was very, very basic. It was FaceTime with a screen share basically, and you could record. But now they're just adding more and more to it because, well, they're being thrown more and more money.
Mm-hmm.
And money makes things better for the most part.
We keep getting the upgrades. It seems like at Thomas, every time you turn around with Zoom, there's a new upgrade and they seem to add something onto that a little bit better. That's useful for some. Some can use it, and some are like, oh my goodness, another feature that I may or may not use. Depending on your application. But,
right, and the fact that they've improved the audio at least 100%. From even the beginning of the pandemic, at the beginning of all of our lockdowns, we did a mobile DJ spin kind of a thing. And the audio was absolute garbage from pretty much everybody. Within a month and a half, all of that changed. They just kept adding different things to it to make it so that it didn't sound like a garbled mess when you were playing a song on virtual DJ. Unfortunately, then they started locking down stuff, but whatever, it's fine. Alex, are you using it Zoom now, or you're getting ready to probably start jumping into that?
I'm using Zoom, obviously, as we are now, through the DJ chill room. I occasionally use it to chat with friends and family, cash app talks. I'm not sure if I'm going to be using it for the streaming, if I do the streaming for next year, as we mentioned earlier. I think probably this would be the best option, because obviously you can have so many windows. It's more private and probably more secure than using the same function that Facebook has, where obviously, again, Facebook used to be a simple kind of one-to-one thing. And then when Zoom came out, Facebook were like, oh, hang on a sec. We're Facebook. We're much bigger. We've got bigger pulling power, shall we say. They then upgraded their rooms to have up to 50 people. I mean, Skype, before Zoom, Skype was already doing this. I mean, it was a big thing when Skype used to just be a one-on-one. And then Skype said, hey, we've actually redesigned Skype. You can now, be in a call and then phone other people and invite them into the calls as well. But everything is developed. Somebody, it's like everything else, lighting, sound, PA system. Somebody brings out a speaker, and then 2 months down the line, somebody brings out a better speaker. It's the same with this. We had Skype. Then Facebook brought something out better than Skype, and then Zoom came out, and then everybody's always in competition as to who's going to have the capture of the market.
Right.
But yeah, I think probably Zoom is going to be the safest option, because something like that, when you're broadcasting something that's private, you don't want people sort of suddenly jumping in and bombing your stream, shall we say. You don't want somebody on Facebook that might somehow, if you don't change or put the right settings, somebody to come across it when you're live streaming on Facebook.
Right. Yeah. There's a privacy part to that, right? You just don't want people just dropping in and, showing their junk. I mean, it's real life. It really happens still, because people don't put passwords on their Zoom stuff. But then, of course, there's somebody has to moderate that, and somebody has to monitor those kinds of things. Bill Marsh.
I think.
Go ahead, Alex.
Sorry, I was just going to say. Plus, I think if you have a Zoom room and you're paying for it, so you can have I can't remember, is it 100 or 150 people in the room when you subscribe to it. That makes it more professional, because, like other people have said, if you're DJing with an iPad, then your guests might think, well, you know what? I can do that. I've got an iPad. But if you're using this, they go, hang on a sec. I have used Zoom before, but it doesn't look anything like this. You know?
Right.
It's the same when people come up and they're like going, what program are you using? I'm saying Virtual DJ. No, it's not Virtual DJ. It doesn't look anything like Virtual DJ. Well, that's because I downloaded a different skin. You know, it's not the basic skin that everybody that uses the free version, you know, all has the same skin, you know.
Right.
So it's a similar thing to that. You know, people are going to be going, oh, that is Zoom, but it's not Zoom as I know it. Why is that? Well, you know, it's using this. I'm using the OBS. I'm using blah, blah, blah. You know, this is, you know, and they're like, that's why I'm paying him to do it, because he knows 10 times more than what I know. And that's why you get the professional. That's why you get a car mechanic to fix your car and not do it yourself, because he's the guy that's got all the right equipment in the first place that can do it properly, you know, rather than you taking 10 hours to do a job that he takes 1 hour.
Right. Right. Okay, so Bill had a question, and don't apologize, that's not that long. Low-tech DJ, so I wanted to run a streaming event on Zoom, such as a music bingo or trivia party for a client. What do I need to run sound from my DJ mixer to my computer with OBS? Is just an iRig enough, or do I need something else as well? Okay, so, fun fact. Right before this, I actually ran a music bingo event, literally right before this. So, let's do that, shall we? I'll go to my music bingo guy. No, that's not it.
We're welcoming Randy Bosley in the room as well.
Randy Bosley, what up, dude? Okay, so one of the things that I do every week is music bingo. Mm-hmm. Why is it that way? Okay, anyway. Oh, so this is what I did for that holiday party. Mm-hmm. You know, put the funny little gifts on the side there. And the audio part is all Zoom. It's all on the Zoom side for what I use. So I use this program called Singo. I don't know if you've heard of it or not, but it is on this tablet. Ooh, it's so glary. And I've got this tablet going into mic channel 2 on my mixer board. I've got a eighth inch out to a quarter, and I hit this button on play, and then I hit this button. And I can control the audio level, all of that good stuff. And it took a little bit to figure it out, but everything coming out of my board is from that iRig 2. Everything goes into the iRig 2, into my combination jack on my laptop, and Bob's your uncle. Did that answer your question, Bill? Yes.
So could you not set up, because I know what I've done with Virtual DJ is with the OBS, you can actually take the video output. So if you're in Virtual DJ, when you click on the video screen and you get the pop out for the video, you can then use that, capture that and put that into OBS. So you can have a little window showing that whatever your Virtual DJ is, video is showing. So I'm guessing you could probably do the same with the audio. You could go into the audio settings and take the audio stream from Virtual DJ and play that and set up on one of the mics to use the audio through there rather than having to use an iRig, for example. So you could take the sound direct. Obviously, as long as you're using OBS on the same computer that you're using your Serato or Virtual DJ, for example.
Right. And another thing that you can do, and it's a Zoom side thing, but I mean it's all the same. It's all the same conversation. is you can take, hold on, let me find this thing. I was sent this link. Okay, here we go. Open this. Go here, open this. You can share audio from your laptop into Zoom. So my daughter sent me this super cute little video game Christmas playlist. So it's basically, it's just Christmas songs that are video game, like 8-bit based. So you would be able to do that as well with virtual DJ and stuff like that. I'm lulling Alex to sleep. And it sounds pretty good, to be honest. I mean, it's way better than it was in March.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it would have started being choppy, and I mean, wouldn't have sounded as good as that.
Yeah, and that's just running because my mixer is plugged in. You just select as the audio output your mixer, and it just, you can select that as an audio source, and it just pops right into Zoom and goes right through it.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing I did notice, though, when doing this kind of a thing, since we're on the streaming and music bingo and Zoom, is that you need to, and on the iRig, there is a spot for a headphone. Right here. Oops, sorry. I have that plugged into my QSC, which is under the table,
Mm-hmm.
on the other channel that's not connected to my mixer. The reason for that is the Zoom audio, so you guys talking to me, won't come through otherwise. So I wouldn't be able to hear you unless I had headphones plugged into the iRig. So you want to have like a monitor speaker so you can hear the people talking to you while you're doing something like, the music bingo or trivia or stuff like that.
Yeah.
So one of the questions I have, and I'm hoping this is a crossoverable question. I don't want to ask questions that are not applicable to the DJ side of things. I've noticed that sometimes, because I'm only using one input of all of my audio sources coming into OBS, so I don't have that much controllability in OBS. I can basically go up and down with the audio controls. And I then go into YouTube as my source, not Zoom. So my levels that I'm changing have a bit of a delay. And I guess I'm wondering is if there's a way to listen to the audio levels within OBS itself. Have you found anything out like that? I haven't, like monitoring it real time in OBS.
I have not. My assumption at that point would be that you need some kind of a splitter so that you're hearing, what's happening.
And I've got headphones in the camera, but I have noticed that there is a bit of a difference between what I'm actually getting computer side versus what is actually going into it. And it's not big, but there is a slight difference between the end product just because I'm still meshing the two. So my camera, I have a front microphone on my camera, mm-hmm. and I've got the audio input coming off of the soundboard. So in OBS, I'm taking those two sources and I'm blending them together in OBS. So there's a slight difference. And I just like making sure that audio source sounds good, but there's that couple second delay when you actually get to the streaming side. And I do sometimes use a couple other audio sources as well. So by the time I make the adjustments, it's already a several second delay and I haven't always made time to correct things.
So one of the things that I've noticed is that there's an inherent delay in what you're saying. I mean, so whatever is happening on Zoom. Say you're talking, we're talking right now. If I were to log on to this Zoom chat with my phone, there is about a second delay between me talking and it happening on that device. So that's the magic of the internet. I don't know that's
right. I just didn't know if there was a way to monitor the audio in OBS without it. You know what I mean?
Other than using something like a monitor speaker so you can hear it, or headphones like you're doing. I don't know if there's a way to. I think you're doing everything you can, I guess.
Right, exactly. I just didn't know if you knew anything. So.
No, well, like I said, all I know is that there's a delay between what I say and what people hear.
Yep.
It's only about a second, but it's still there. So.
Yep. Thank you.
Internet latency and all that stuff. You're welcome.
I mean, Sharon, when I was doing this stream, I understand what Sharon's saying, and basically what I did was when I was streaming, because obviously I couldn't plug into the laptop because I was already using the jack as an input. So what I did was basically took my headphones, I plugged it into my mobile phone, I then logged onto my own stream through my phone, and then I could go listen to what everybody else is going to be hearing and monitor the stream output via my phone as a secondary source. But yeah, it would be helpful if you could do that through there. But I thought, again, you can't. I don't think there's any way of doing that because what the streamers, not the streamers, sorry, the person that's listening to the stream, what they're hearing is down to maybe their internet connection. Because if their internet connection is low, then they're, however they're watching it through Twitch or whatever, Twitch will then say, oh, you know what, your internet's low, we're going to stream it at 144. And obviously the audio quality in itself will then go down as well as the video quality will go down as well. Same as with YouTube, or any streaming. If you watch like the lowest quality, the picture's blurred and you get that tinny sound around the audio as well. So I think the only way you can try and measure that is by listening to your own stream.
Yeah, and that's my sound check. That's my Zoom sound check. I log on with my phone. I set it down next to me on the table and start talking and make sure it sounds all right. Play the music, whether it's on Singo or like I did with the. I've always got music playing, and when I open a room, because you've walked into a room before and there's no music playing, and you think, "Am I supposed to be here?" So that's one of the little tips I have for when I set up meetings with couples via Zoom, is I've got some background music playing, and typically hopefully at that point I know who they are, or I know what kind of music they like, and I'll play that kind of a thing, whether it's an instrumental version of that or not. Just to, again, it's all part of that branding and creating that experience, and it's not all just visual. Shalon. Thank you.
It's like you're telling your friend Alan to be quiet.
Okay. Shh, Alan.
Right.
Right.
I
have a friend, Alan, who doesn't know how to shut up, but it's fine.
See, there you go. It's like you're telling him to be quiet, yes. Alan.
And I will. So, like you said, what you're doing, it's visual and it's audio, and creating that moment. Audio is a big part of that. So, Shalon, are you a DJ?
No, not at all. I just dropped in because I wanted to pick up and share some advice on this OBS thing.
Oh, yeah.
Or not? Oh, yeah, OBS. I really. So, just dropping in.
Cool.
Oh,
yeah. Sorry, crashing the party.
Oh, sorry. It's great information.
Yeah, I do some video stuff. I've been in the broadcasting world for a little while, so that's where my background comes from. So
Right on. Right on.
I know we're coming up close to the top of the hour.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we are. Randy, we haven't heard from Randy.
I'm just chilling. Absorbing. I'm a sponge.
Have you used Zoom for anything other than like streaming or this kind of thing?
Yeah, just other than streaming. This year, I only provided a little bit of Zoom stuff for a couple funerals, so worked out all right. But I need to dial it in a little bit better.
Okay. Have you?
I use Extreme Bingo. Haven't done it since COVID hit, so I still want to figure out a way to be able to get that out to my people.
Well, it works. You know, I do it every week. I'll put a link in the chat if you want to jump in.
Yeah.
And it's I make a little bit of money. I make enough money to pay for the licensing to be able to do it, but it keeps me out of trouble for about an hour and 15 minutes, which is nice.
Yeah. I own my Extreme Bingo, so I don't have any licensing issues or anything like that. So when it's sitting there, it's not costing anything. But a couple of the places that I have done it at, not that I can really make a whole lot of money with it, but it would give their business a little bit of pep. If we could, send the cards home with people that had takeout orders or whatever, you get a free card with a takeout order. So that's kind of what I've been thinking about doing. So.
Yep, we did prizes for local businesses to support the community and that kind of a thing, and so they got free advertisement the whole time. And there was a point where we had 48 people on one of these virtual bingo things at $5 a piece. So it was it's not bad for not having to leave, not having to leave the house.
Yeah.
But it was especially early on in this thing. It's people were just grasping at anything, to connect with people. And I have a sneaking suspicion that at least where I live, that's we're looking at a couple more months of that.
Yeah.
We live in northern Michigan, and it's a pretty small community, so we don't get, the Detroit level of care, if you will. But it's again, so OBS, it's such a great way to really personalize your Zoom experience. It's a great way to brand what you're doing. And, like Alex said, it's Zoom, but it's not. And, it also makes you look more professional because, well, it's not just a Zoom call.
Yeah.
And what's funny, Thomas, we've seen this come into view before the pandemic. And now, since the pandemic is here, we're using them more and more, and they're improving. And I look for us, even when we come out of this, to almost, I don't want to say the new norm, but we're going to have these tools and use them a lot more. I have a great feeling on that, which is good. It's going to help us.
Yeah. Video is huge anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And people are becoming, and again, when I was using this a couple of years ago, it was kind of like pulling teeth to get somebody to do a Zoom call. Now it's just commonplace. It's even more normal than making a phone call.
Yeah, it's like second nature.
Yeah. So people are just less and less worried or nervous about being on a video, because you've got TikTok, you've Facebook, Snapchat, all that stuff. Those are all straight video, and just people are just glomming onto that stuff, and especially Gen Z, they love that stuff.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where our market's going to be in the next couple of years, is people who are video communication natives.
Yes.
So making it look professional and, you know, making them feel like it's more than just, oh, another Zoom call. It's going to help.
Anybody have anything else? Anybody need to share anything else on this tonight? I think that's pretty well wraps it up there, Thomas. You're gonna be doing some more. You got some more things probably in the future lined up for this.
Yep, I've got a couple more of these chill rooms. I'm doing Thursday nights at 9. So if I'm not here, I'm probably doing something else. But anyway, so yeah, those are the time slots that work for me because it's right after the music bingo that I've got going every Thursday at 7. So,
all right. Well, thank you again. I appreciate it, Thomas Heath. We will see him, like he said, he's going to be scheduled on Thursdays at 9 here on DJNTV. We do appreciate you guys coming out tonight. Stick around. More of the chill room on the way.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Thomas. Thanks, everybody.